All right. Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson. Woohoo! Coming to you from Kehena Beach Estates on the beautiful Big Island of Hawaii. Yay! Yay, yay. So, something that's been coming into my awareness lately, just kind of bubbling up for me, like it does every week. This always occurs. Um, is how the body is not to be controlled and is not controlled by the mind. It's not controlled. It's a reflection of what you would use it for. It's reflecting that. It's not controlled by it. So I've heard this week someone sharing with me about a friend who realized that the the mind is doing everything. It's all made of thought. So that friend has decided to use it for making money. Okay, use the mind for making money. This is actually the wrong use of the mind because it all leads to the same place, which is death. There's only one proper use for the mind, and that's healing. Okay, that's what the mind is meant to be used for. When it's used for healing, it brings you joy. Your joy is in using it for healing. Same thing with the body, using the body for healing. Now, that doesn't mean you neglect the body's apparent needs and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that you like, let's say it seems to be hungry, let's say, and you just neglect its needs because it's used for healing. These are actually two different levels, okay? There's a level of the framework that everything in the illusion operates on. It operates as on its own kind of cause and effect that's really irrelevant to the kind of cause and effect that's really true. And that's where your mind is cause, all illusion is effect. Okay. So let's say, you know, you eat food in an illusion. No one really eats, right? But in an illusion, in the framework of the illusion, you eat food and then you seem to get energy from it. Or maybe it seems to make you tired, whatever the effect is in the illusion, right? Or you eat shitty food and it seems to make you feel shitty. Or you eat healthy food and it seems to make you feel healthy. Okay, that's fine. That's all within the framework of the illusion. So it's good to just let that stuff play out the way it plays out. Don't try to deny it that these seeming effects are the seeming effects. They are. They're the seeming effects. For me, I found myself just eating more food lately and having more energy and seeming to have more energy and seeming to have like even my body seeming to fill out because I seem to be eating more protein. Now, that's all again within the framework of the illusion. It's not right or wrong. It's not bad to see how the framework works, the things work in the illusion, and seemingly, it's only seemingly you're using them that way. You're not really doing anything in the illusion. The only choice you're ever really making is between love and fear. But when you try to neglect the things in the illusion, you are actually using the mind wrongly. So what I've seen with people, especially who study A Course in Miracles, because A Course in Miracles is teaching that you don't you don't really have a body. You're not a body. You don't really have a body. So what I notice people do a lot is they'll eat the shittiest food, right? They'll just eat all the GMO stuff, all that stuff. And yes, it's true. It doesn't have any real effects. And yet, within the framework of the world that we set up, it does seem to have effects that seem very real. Now, another thing people try to do is use the mind to deny those effects to the body. Like say, I drink a bunch of alcohol or I eat a bunch of McDonald's and use the mind to go and try to cancel out all of the effects. When you're using the mind to try to cancel out the effects, you've already condemned yourself because you're already saying that the effects are real and they're meaningful to you. And that's why you want to cancel them out in the first place. Okay. So that's not what the mind is for. And look at this, you do not have a choice in what you eat or drink or do in the illusion. This is actually playing out. Block therapy. I've been having friends come to block therapy and people are like, wow, this is great. We're really getting some good relief. Or else they're going, wow, I really feel fucked up. Like my friend here today, he's been bruised. He's been bruised lately. And it's like, yeah, all of that stuff is fine. Let those illusions within the framework of illusions just be what they are. Recognize you're not really making a choice. Like my friend today, he didn't come to block therapy because he said he felt sore. So he wasn't coming. He felt sore, he felt bruised, felt like he was getting some detox symptoms. Okay, that's fine. And also recognize the because part, that isn't even really true. That's really part of the framework. It's just working. You're not making any choices. You're not making a choice whether to come to block therapy. You're not making a choice what to eat. You are not choosing. So, recognizing this myself, and I think I've shared with you guys recently too, for years, hold on, someone's got in the Q&A. May I hop on and ask a question? Yes, you may. I will bring you on in a minute. Okay. Raise your hand. You can raise your hand too. You don't have to do the Q&A on that. So, recently I've been talking about how I've been smoking spliffs. I think I started smoking spliffs maybe like 10 years ago. I was I was just smoking ganja here and there, and I hadn't been smoking tobacco in a long time. I kind of like got tired of that. Let's say I got tired of that. That's really what happens. We get tired of things. Back in my early 20s or mid 20s. And started again once I realized, oh, ganja with tobacco. Now that's good. And so a habit ensued. Okay. And I would kind of go back and forth with it. Like sometimes I would feel like, I just really don't like that. Like I feel like there's like a dullness coming on. I feel like maybe I don't like how it feels in my mouth. And, all this time, because 10 years ago, I already started in recognizing we're not making any choices here. So it's like now we're looking at, okay, I seem to have a habit. I seem to not sometimes not want this habit, but sometimes like the habit and sometimes not like how it makes me feel, and recognizing that and see myself also going back and forth. Like I would seem to give up the habit and then the habit would come back again. Well, I continue to be very gentle with myself because knowing that I'm not making the choice. I was actually, recognizing I'm not making the choice whether I'm going to smoke a spliff or not. I'm not making the choice whether I'm going to play a video game on my phone or not. In fact, I would find myself doing both things. I got a spliff and a video game going at the same time, right? And you know how the ego might talk to you about that. Like, you're really fucking up. This is very unspiritual of you. And I would talk about it on my talks too, because I just like to expose everything. I'm not trying to make a spiritual image. That's not going to be helping me at all. So I'd find myself in the situation, and I look at it like this. Okay, why would I want to not enjoy something that I seem to be doing? That seems to be the thing. If God's will for me is happiness and joy is an expression of truth, why would I want to not enjoy something that I seem to be doing? And what would make me not enjoy something but thoughts that I'm believing? So I used everything like that. I didn't bring on like cares for my body. Like, of course there's concern for the body. And this is what I'm saying. There is no need to have any concern for the body. Because it just doesn't make any sense at all. There is no body and it's meant to be used for awakening the mind. So when people hear that, they think I'm supposed to take care of it then. I'm supposed to make sure it doesn't smoke, it gets the right nutrients, it doesn't play too many video games. and I'm supposed to make sure it gets the right amount of sunlight and the right amount of nutrients, right? That's the ego's way of looking at it. You do not need to take care of those things because you actually do not choose. That's not the choice you're making. The only choice you ever make is between two alternatives, love and fear. Okay. So the body is a reflection of how you would use it. That's what's going on. It's actually a reflection of that. And don't start using it as a report card. That's not how. So if you seem to see a body that seems to be aging or going through sickness or something like that, it is not time to use that as like a reflection on how well you're doing as far as choosing love or fear. It's not meant to be like that at all. I'm not saying that like it's some kind of a report card, like I said. That's how the ego would use it. Okay, so if your body looks like this, then your mind must be whatever. No, do not subscribe to that at all. That is not right. It's more like this. Your joy is the measure. That's the measure for how awake you are. I'm telling you, that's the only measure. Can you be in joy while you're perceiving, let's say, cancer, for instance? That's the measure. So it's not like, okay, now I have this cancer. This must mean I'm like this kind of way. Okay. It's your joy with experiencing the body. That's the reflection for you, not the way it looks, not the diagnosis, not the way it looks on the surface. Look, it's the body expressing the joy that you are. That's really that's what shows how much you're using your mind for love versus fear. It's the amount of joy you can express through it. It's not the seeming condition that it seems to be in. Okay. So while I'm experiencing, and I experience myself too, having a lot of energy for smoking spliffs around the clock. I did have a lot of energy for that. For being someone that seems to be eating barely any calories, that's another thing. There's barely any eating taking place. Sometimes it would go through different cycles, but sometimes my only calories were coffee. Just coffee and spliffs. And there still seemed to be a shitload of energy. You know why? Because I'm not listening to the ego thoughts about making what I'm doing wrong or buying into that even the seeming effects are wrong. It's also a matter of not denying the seeming effects that are playing within the framework of the dream. The framework of the dream is set up by us, and our mind is powerful to make illusions. So, not denying the seeming effects, like admitting that, wow, when I smoke spliffs, I feel a little heavier up here above my eyebrows. It kind of feels like, this stuff, like things are pulling down. Recognizing that it seems like that and embracing that, not resisting it, not I gotta fix the spliff smoking, I gotta stop smoking spliffs. Because see, that's the thing that just keeps illusions spinning. Sometimes people go to AA, NA, stuff like that, and think that they're gonna get more peace by controlling their habits. You're not gonna get more peace by controlling your habits. You're not. It's not gonna work like that. That's kind of like saying, you're gonna try to hang some fruit on a dead tree, and the tree's gonna come back to life because it's got some fruit hanging on it, right? That's not how it works. It's from the tree that the fruit manifests. And so it's from the joy that the fruit manifests, right? So because I was able to embrace whatever it is I seem to be doing with joy, allowing more joy to be manifest, enjoying the spliff, not condemning myself for it. That's something I used to do when I was younger, when I didn't realize that we're not making any choices here. When I would want to make myself do something, what I would do is guilt myself. And then I would make myself, I would be able to seemingly control myself. But what's really happening is I'm using guilt. And using guilt never has good returns. It might have good returns in the sense that I seem to be able to discipline myself, but I was never able to discipline myself very well. Me and Tony, we used to have a cheat day every week because we would discipline ourselves to eat really clean all week long and use willpower to do it. And then one day a week, we would go hog wild. We just wake up and start having like a Starbucks kind of frappe kind of thing, and then do all these. We'd go to restaurants and just like the whole day would be about eating all the shit we didn't get to eat all week. Right. And that would be the way we would like give ourselves rewards for punishing ourselves all week long. Right. So recognizing this and going through this, one time I was at Disney with my daughter, she's an adult at the time, and we were smoking our spliffs at Disney. We roll these things nicely, so they actually look like a cigarette. We're using a machine, and we're sitting there at the Disney smoking section at the Disneyland Hotel with all the other people that are smoking regular cigarettes, and we got our spliffs going, and someone walks up and goes and just is disgusted at us and himself, his own habit too, because he's over there smoking too. And he's just totally disgusted, going, "Oh, we're so gross with these habits." And he mentioned the word addiction. And I go, "The only addiction is addiction to guilty thoughts." And the guy got so triggered. He goes, "I don't believe that. I'm in Narcotics Anonymous or something like that, or Alcoholics Anonymous, one of those." And he just got so pissed he had to leave, because I'm saying the only addiction is to a guilty thought, you know. Uh, and the other people around at the smoking section were kind of like, that's interesting. And I go, "Yeah, you got to enjoy what you're doing. You got to enjoy whatever you seem to be doing. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you're just setting yourself up for more turmoil. It doesn't matter what it is. You guys, I'm telling you, I don't care if you're shooting heroin, okay? Enjoy whatever that habit seems to be. When you allow yourself to enjoy, you're actually allowing yourself to hear from the spirit. That's what you're doing. So it's not like it's not even a reflection on how spiritual you are, what your habits seem to be. That's not it. That's not the reflection. The reflection on how much you have chosen love is, again, your joy, your willingness to enjoy. Okay. And that includes enjoying everything that seems to be here. Remember, God is in everything you see. So everything that seems to be here is like God in disguise. Okay. So thinking of it as in terms like the New Age spirituality teaches, in terms like, okay, it's all thought. How can I use thought then to control this illusion? That's not allowing your joy right now, because it's now. It's not a future thing. See how the ego sets it for a future thing. In the future, when I get the body, in the future, when I get the money, in the future, later. Okay, it's always later. Joy can only occur now. It can only be expressed right now. And it's with whatever it is that you seem to be doing. That's all. And if you're in your joy also, you're not going to be harmful at all. You're not even going to be harmful. That's what I notice about myself. It's like I don't even seem to have significant effects from what I seem to be doing. And knowing any kind of effects that feel less than joyful are only because of believing in a guilty thought. It's allowing a guilty thought to arise, maybe not seeing it, maybe thinking, "Gosh, this spliffing is killing me," or something like that. It's not the spliffing, it's actually the mind that's choosing a fearful thought. So the effect of the mind is both the habit that you seem to be doing and the seeming effects of the habits. Those are both effects. Those are both actually effects of the mind. Okay. So in my case, what I've experienced recently, this is very recently, I saw it coming when I was in Washington. I could kind of sense it. I was really enjoying my spliffing in Washington because, for one, they got the best ganja. I'm used to Hawaii ganja. Not so good, you guys. It's not the best. When you go over to Washington, then you see, okay, these guys know how to do it. They know how to cure it, and they got a lot of good different kinds. I could get good tobacco there too. I was really enjoying it. Nice patio there, and basically around the clock. I mean, I would wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, nice time for a spliff. Right? And just enjoying it around the clock. And also enjoying not eating very much. Just enjoying whatever it is, whatever occurs. I actually, while I was there, started experiencing their black cod over there. Ooh, that was tasty. So I did start eating some protein over there. But while I was there, I got the sense when I came back to Hawaii, I wasn't going to want to smoke. Okay, for one, I was coming back to stay here with one of my hosts, KC, and she does not like people smoking around her. She does not like that. And I was like, yeah, for those 5 days, only staying here for their 5 days. For those 5 days, I'm probably not going to smoke because in to smoke and not bother KC, I would need to like go down the street anyways, you know. And that's like that didn't seem as awesome to me. So and then I got the sense maybe I'm just like not gonna do it as a habit, you know, as a habit. It's not like I'm swearing anything off, but maybe I'm just not gonna do it. And I felt good. That felt good. That felt joyful to me. So once I got here, that habit wasn't here. You know, I've had some spliff a couple times here and there when people have offered me some of their for some of theirs. It's no big deal. I'm not trying to swear it off or anything, but just noticing that as a habit, that's just not there. And also there's a sense of feeling really good. Like my eyes don't have that heaviness going on right now. And then also there's been increasing an increase of eating and also an increase of protein. I actually asked AI, wrote to AI, hey, I'd like to firm up my body. What's the best way to do that? AI goes, most important thing is protein. Those are the building blocks. Okay. Well, that sounds like a pain in the ass. And AI is like, I'll make it easy for you. Here's a list. So then I found myself eating more protein, and then people are going, wow, you look much better. One person asked me if I'm wearing eyeliner. No, I'm not wearing any eyeliner. I'm not wearing any makeup. I got a little lip gloss on. But then looking at this, I'm going, oh, everything's a spiritual teaching to me, everything, and especially something like this, because now we got, these concepts coming up about how the body isn't even real. Well, if the body isn't real, why do you care if it eats protein or not? And it's like, I really don't. It's just that there's joy in the expression, and so the joy just continues in the expression however it does. It's not like I'm trying to save a body or thinking my joy is going to come when the body gets better looking or fills out more or anything like that. It's just this is the play. This is the play of life. So within the framework, there's these cause and effect things going on where the issue is number one, using willpower. Using willpower. Your will should always be directed toward truth only, toward using your mind properly. Okay. When the willpower isn't there, or when the will isn't there to just like automatically do those things because they feel good. Do not force yourself in the world. That's guilt playing. That's guilt talking. That's why. So it's like, let's say I go, wow, I really want to get in better shape. I really want to eat better food. I really want to eat clean. But I got these habits where I keep on wanting McDonald's, right? Now, if that were me, I would eat the shit out of McDonald's until I was done with it. Okay. And not worry about the form at all. Just not concerned. Don't have any concern for the form. Now, once it percolates like it did for me, where it's just a happy thing, it's kind of like, you know what? I'd like to firm this thing up. Is there something that does that? And then once I heard it, once I read it, Chat GPT told me, and I go, that sounds really good. I'm going to play with that. But it wasn't like I'm going to be really disciplined. I'm not disciplined at all. People think I'm disciplined, apparently. People have thought I'm disciplined for a while because I practice block therapy every day, like pretty much every day, right? And I usually practice it for like 2 hours. Before that, it was yoga every day. But the thing is, I don't be disciplined about it. That's just what I seem to want to do. There's no discipline about it. If there seemed to be any discipline about it, that's where I would be questioning. I would really be questioning that because I don't want to do that. I've already been through that kind of the behavior, let's say. It's a mental behavior, really. Saying I'm going to discipline myself. I'm going to sacrifice joy. This is what discipline is saying. I'm going to sacrifice my joy right now so I could have something better later. That's what it's saying. I do not subscribe to that one bit. Not at all. So what I found though was cravings for things falling away, cravings for spliffs, cravings for caffeine, cravings for just filler food, just all these cravings just falling away and feeling great. It's like, oh, great. And the cause and effect that seemed to be in the framework of the world, that seems to be working. I already did seem to have a bunch of energy. Now it seems to have hit another level. I already did seem to look pretty good. Now I seem to look even better, you know? that's, but that's not because I'm disciplined. It's the opposite of that. See, I would wait for that to come around and not be concerned about my body at all. I would wait for the inspiration for all of that kind of stuff, things falling away, whatever, to come around without concern for my body because my main thing, and basically what I learned from A Course in Miracles and just spirituality in general, I mean, really, A Course in Miracles just gave me a lot of words I could use to articulate to you guys what's going on, right? Because these are just things that I started to see a long time ago, and I saw them by going through them. I was very disciplined as a young woman. And you could say not disciplined because I was just sharing how I had to have the cheat day, right? I had to have some kind of reward for all this punishment I put myself through. Discipline is punishment. That's what's going on. So if you want to discipline yourself, and if you do find yourself disciplining yourself, it's not saying that it's wrong, that disciplining yourself is wrong, because nothing that you actually do is wrong. It's the mindset thinking that if you sacrifice, see the sacrifice mindset? Sacrifice, joy, now you're going to get something you want later. That's not going to be the case. You're only going to get little like glimpses of what you're calling joy. You're not going to get the kind of joy and experience the kind of joy that comes with the peace of God. That's the kind of joy you really want. So I would wait for that. And what happened for me is I went all the way to extreme, and I don't mind. I did not mind playing extremes. I went all the way to the extreme where one time I got pissed at Tony because he was telling me that if I eat certain foods, it's not good. And I go, fuck that. I do not want to hear that. It's does not nothing that we eat really affects the body. And that's true. Nothing we eat really affects the body. However, again, we set this framework into motion and it seems to do that, good and bad. Right, good and bad. You eat something that seems to be healthy. You even think it's healthy. Maybe another person doesn't think it's healthy. Like right now, I'm eating a lot of protein that includes meat. Some people don't think meat is healthy. They think when they eat meat, they feel like shit. Well, that's not the case for me, right? It's a mental framework that's playing out. So it could be different. The different substances could be different for different people. At some points in your life, smoking the ganja or smoking the spliffs might actually feel more uplifting and more healthy than not. Because within the framework, you're being released of some stress that you would normally be putting on yourself, and the stress would be more detrimental within the ego's framework than the spliff, right? So it comes down to the mind. So when you're disciplining yourself using your mind to basically sacrifice for a reward later, you're training your mind to go on guilt, to use guilt as a motivating force. And we did. Tony and I definitely did. We both did that. We were into working out and stuff, and we would basically guilt ourselves and kind of like make ourselves like disgusted at ourselves as motivation for being more disciplined. You guys see that? That's not a direction you want to go. That actually leads to death. That's not a direction to go in. So look, when you go to a doctor and you get a diagnosis at a doctor, right? Many times the doctor is going to say that it's your habits that got you this diagnosis. Let's say you've been smoking 50 years and now you got lung cancer, and that's like a shameful thing. Look it, when you seem to have the lung cancer, for instance, don't make it about the smoking in the past, because the past does not affect the present. That's not what it is. Your mind is actually projecting the past smoking and the present cancer right now. So right now is where the thought of separation gets undone. Okay, that's always where it goes. It goes to now. So the body again is a reflection. And what is it really reflecting? What is it really reflecting if it's not really here? It's reflecting your joy or your pain, basically. And that has nothing to do with the condition that the body seems to be in. So it's not like that. It's not like saying, well, if my body's broken, this must prove that I'm not that far along. No, it's how are you with the broken body? Are you in joy with an apparently, you don't really have a body? Are you in joy with an apparently broken body? Are you in joy with an apparently addicted body? Right? Are you in joy with an apparently needy body? Right? It's like all these are appearances. So that's the reflecting, and that's a huge shift. That's a huge shift that you would make if you go from using your body as evidence of who you are and what and how you are spiritually, to using your joy. The joy that you are is actually expressed through the body, no matter what kind of condition the body might seem to be in. Now, that being said, the miracle has all power, even within illusions, to change illusions. Okay, to change illusions and actually make what seems to be a destroyed, mangled, whatever, sickly body actually manifest as a bright, vital form. Right? The miracle has the power to do that. Now, give that power to the miracle. Don't take it away from the miracle. And, in time, eventually, at a point in time, all of this sickness will be lifted, and we won't see sickness, because there is no such thing as sickness. Our true body does not change. It's a light body. Let's say it like this: it can change form, but not change into sickly form, not change into dying form, not change into aging form, because life is life. Life is eternally vibrant, and your true body is a light body. Here, what you're perceiving is a dream body. It is not a real body. You don't have this body. You're dreaming it up. So what is it for other than undoing the thought of separation that makes mortal bodies possible in the first place? When you're using it for that, you're in your supreme joy. That automatically manifests as one, more vitality, even, like for me, in my case, in 2016, this is after I had been practicing A Course in Miracles for 2 years, I got a sense that there was more fatigue than normal, right? So I go to a doctor and I start getting these tests, and I get the test. Apparently, my adrenals were so low, it registered as at a 4, a number 4, whatever that means. Number 4, okay, where the minimum for a healthy adrenals was 1,000. So that was telling you, the doctor was like, "How are you sitting upright? I don't even understand how you're sitting upright. You're a little bit fatigued. You should be laying down almost dead. Don't do anything. Don't drive home. Just stay in a prone position. Your adrenals are barely working." I'm laughing at the news. I'm laughing at this news. She's like, "You must be getting energy from somewhere else." right? You must be. Even the doctor is like, because this doesn't make any medical sense. That is, you just feel a little bit fatigued, right? So then I'm hearing concepts of the doctor too. The concepts of the doctor are, it's all material. I have to do these things. I have to get on this protocol. I have to do these things. And this was a protocol that I go, okay. Initially I was like, all right, I'm excited about this. I feel stoked about it. I'll get on. And then I didn't like it. I didn't like the food. I didn't like I didn't like eating that food and stuff. And I continued to make myself do it. That was the mistake. And that's mental mistake, not physical. It's a mental mistake, making myself do something because, again, sacrificing to get a reward, sacrificing joy now, eating food that was like, ugh, bunch of cauliflower. Some people like that shit, not me. She likes it. She's like, give me the cauliflower. It doesn't matter what it is. Is it joyful, right? Are you sacrificing? Because sacrifice comes from the mind, right? So here I am, I find myself sacrificing. Next thing you know, I got a pregnant belly. I'm not pregnant, but I got this pregnant belly and I can't poop, right? Yeah. So then I realized I got to get off this fucking train. I got to get off this train. And I'm like, I'm just going to listen to the Holy Spirit right now. Holy Spirit said, close your fucking mouth. Quit eating any food. That was like the message, you know? It was just like, stop eating any food. And that felt good to me because I had been eating all this food that she's telling me to eat. The doctor's telling me I need to eat for maybe like 2 months. And that felt really good to me. I went on a fast for, I didn't know how long at first, but it was like 6 weeks. It ended up being like 6 weeks. It wasn't full on water fast, but there was bone broth, there was aloe drinks that I made from aloe, kefir, just like all liquid and not that much of it too. And of course, the doctor was like beside herself. She's like, you're going to kill yourself. You don't understand. You don't know what you're doing. And I was like, I totally trust the process because I could just feel it. It was joyful to me. That's what I know. That's what the gauge is. It's what's joyful to me. So that's really what's gonna manifest as joy. So things just keep on manifesting as more joy. So same thing with the habits that I seem to do. I wasn't feeling like I didn't want to do them. I wanted to do them. I liked them. I liked the smoking of the spliffs. I liked my habit of drinking caffeine and barely eating any food. I liked my habit of playing video games on my phone until I didn't. So it's just joy continuing. And then soon enough, it's like the joy that was in those habits fell away. So then the habits themselves fell away, and then it turned to something else. So then it just turns into greater and greater joy. But I don't use the body, what the body seems to be doing, as evidence of whether I'm doing well. It's my joy that's evidence of whether I'm doing well. It's not my habits of whether I'm is a reflection of whether I'm doing well. It's not how lean or in good shape my body seems to be doing. That's not a reflection to me of how well I'm doing. It's how much joy I have with that particular thing. It's not the circumstances of my life. It's not how much money I have. None of those. It's the joy I have within whatever seems to be arising. There could be seeming conflict with maybe a family member isn't talking to me. Am I still in joy about that? At one point, my daughter, when she was probably in her 20s, was going around town talking all kinds of shit on me while she was on a bunch of cocaine. Well, the cocaine part hasn't changed. It's fluctuated here and there, but, but she would go around town talking about me around town. And one of my friends was really excited about, my wisdom talks. And he was in town and he was saying, you got to go to one of Hope's wisdom talks. This was like probably back in 2019 or something like that. It was Urba. He's like, you got to go to, you know how excited he gets if you know him. You got to, you got to hear these wisdom talks. And they're like, why would we do that? Did you see her daughter? Her daughter doesn't even like her and she looks like shit and she's on cocaine. She's a coke addict. And he goes, I know, but you got to see her. She's in complete joy. See, that's the thing. That's the expression. That's what shows. And it doesn't matter if anyone else sees you like that either. Some people, probably a lot of people, were thinking that chick is just off her rocker. She's just a crazy broad. I'm not going to listen to her. Why would I want to listen to her? Maybe I'll get a coked out daughter too. Yes, what if that's contagious? I'm going to listen to the spiritual teachers that seem to have their whole life together and seem to be in control, right? They seem to be in control of their body. That's what people want to do. That's what people want to do through the ego, is control their life and control their body, right? You're only going to find this and access this supreme joy where you're willing to embrace whatever it is, not trying to control whatever it is, because shit is just inevitably not going to be going your way. I don't care how disciplined you make yourself. You know, some people who are on a spiritual path take great pride in their ability to be disciplined. Maybe it's their ability to have a meditation practice that they do every single day. Maybe it's their ability to always eat good food, right? And for myself, gosh, I find myself meditating pretty pretty much. This morning it was 2 hours apparently. I'm not trying to be disciplined about anything. That's just what felt good in the moment. 2 hours of meditation, 2 hours of block therapy, eating totally clean, no discipline, right? But that is like a progression, and it could change too. I don't care. I don't have concern over these things. It can go tomorrow. Next thing you know, I only eat McDonald's. I don't care, right? And I'm smoking and eating McDonald's with a video game going at the same time, right? Because it's like it doesn't matter. What matters to me is awakening the mind. And so in that it's a joyful expression. If I'm using my body for healing, it is a joyful expression. If I'm using my mind for healing, it is a joyful expression. That's how it is. And it's the same. If you're using your body for healing, you're using your mind for healing. If you're using your mind for healing, you're using your body for healing. See, the ego says, I want to get what I want. I want to use it to get what I want because I'm going to be happy if I see my body in this particular shape or something like that. No, you could play with all the things in the field. Just let it be going along with your joy and not with discipline. Remember, we've been studying this lately about how there's no sacrifice in love. There's no sacrifice in the atonement. God does not ask you to sacrifice. That's the ego that asks you to sacrifice. So whenever your mind goes to sacrifice, that's going the wrong way. That's going for death. Only the ego would ask you to sacrifice. You do not need to sacrifice joy in the present moment. I have not experienced in this lifetime where I just don't have any cravings for any kind of food that doesn't seem to be and seems to me because there's people who don't eat cooked food. I eat cooked food apparently. To me, that's fine. There's people who don't eat any meat. All right. There's people who don't eat vegetables too. That too. I'm kind of like low vegetable apparently. It doesn't seem to be that joyful to me to eat a bunch of vegetables. Okay. I like lettuce in my taco salad. That's good. That's like the extent of a vegetable for me. Some romaine lettuce in the taco salad. Apparently, tomatoes are a fruit, but I like tomatoes in there too, apparently. So it's not about sacrificing anything. And the mind doesn't control the body like a puppet, like people believe. And they find out it's all thought, go, oh, well, don't I just, if I just control these things, then why don't I want to have control? It's not like that. It's not predictable. The body's not predictable. Anything could occur. And whatever does occur is actually orchestrated because it's the most beneficial. It's the most beneficial as a means for awakening your mind to the truth. All right. That's the reason why there's any kind of changes or anything. It's the most beneficial. Changes in your habits, whatever. It's not because you made a choice in those changes. It's just because it's the most beneficial. When you look at it like that, you can be happy with it, with everything and let the changes manifest as they do. I didn't have a care about when they would manifest. I didn't realize this would occur in this lifetime. I'm just like, what in the world? I've never experienced this before, where I just absolutely have no cravings for anything that seems to be like a processed food to me. To me, okay? Like I said, there's plenty of people who think that what I eat, cooked meat for one, is processed food. Or sour cream is a little bit processed, right? A protein shake, maybe something that seems like a processed food to someone. But what I see is that whatever I am I'm having that seems to be in alignment with the apparent goal that I have in the world, which is the worldly goal is to tighten this thing up, build more muscle, change the shape. There's nothing wrong with that. There's not a problem with that. That's a worldly goal. That's completely irrelevant to what the mind is doing. Now, where you run into trouble is where you believe that achieving that goal will bring you peace. That's all. It's like, can you be in joy with the process? Can you still be in joy if you never get to that goal? Right? It's only the joy in the, remember, it's the process that's the fun. Really, it's just being in joy with what it is, and not having any sense like, oh, but I really want this donut, for instance, or a muffin, you know, stuff like that. There's just like no desire for stuff like that. No desire for no desire for playing video games on my phone all of a sudden. That went on for a good, I don't know, maybe 15 years. Yeah. It's like I got to play games on my phone. Right? And I got to play games. I know some people are like, "What? We thought you were way too spiritual for this." I've talked about this before. You don't remember that? Yeah. Has nothing to do with spiritual. Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Some people are like, well, that doesn't sound fun to me. And apparently it was fun to me. I loved Angry Birds for a while, where you shoot the birds and you launch them off and they go knock down the pigs. They kill the pigs and they blow them up. And it's like, yeah. And then I was doing some what was I doing? This one called Tasty Travels. That was my last one. Tasty Travels. It's a matching game. You match things up. I'm like, wow, why do I like this? It's like, I don't know. I'm not getting anywhere. Just like life, I'm not getting anywhere. Just like dream life, right? You're not really getting anywhere. It seemed like that seemed to be the teaching too. I just like, oh, cool, a new item. There's a new item for matching. Oh, it looks so cute. Okay, let's match them again, right? But then it just goes around in a circle. You never get anywhere. You never earn anything. You seem to earn something, but you never earn. They never won't pay you any money or anything. It's like, this is so mindless. Why is this going on? And so that would always just be brought back to the truth, and just allowing myself to enjoy it in the moment, not be shaming, not be trying to change it, just enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. So, okay, my friend Paul, are you still on with me? Yes, you are. Okay, I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to allow you to talk here. We got some other questions too. We'll get to those as well. All right.
Hey, can you hear me,
Oh,
Hope?
yay. It's been so long. It's so fun to hear your voice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, great to hear yours too.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
So
um,
what's happening?
I was listening to last week's call. You called it acceptance, form versus experience.
Okay, that was the last Wisdom Dialogues, I think.
Yeah. So
Okay, cool.
the last 15 minutes I've been listening to over and over and over again because it was so cool. You talked about when um you had the experience where you saw that, going into the void and, you know, seeing that, we cling to stories here, and that's what the reincarnation is. We're desperately clinging to a story because we're terrified of feeling separate from the one and being in the void.
Right.
So we just create that, and then there's actual beings there or people that have crossed over that say, hey, you got to get back to your next mission, and this is really important. Now you got to do this, and here's your next learning. You're talking about
Right.
how that's all optional
Yes.
and not even so. I'd like to know more about that. Um,
Yeah.
because there's this idea that we hear the spiritual teachings that say, it's a really, really rare opportunity to be in human form.
Okay, yeah. That's an ego that's one of the ego spiritual things that it's like it's as if you want this. You do want it, but the only reason you really want it is because you believe you're not worthy of heaven. What you might call heaven or the creation of light or the creations of light or basically just creation, right? This is not creation. This is perceiving. That's different. So you put yourself kind of like into a sleep, but you're not really asleep. You're always awake. God did not create anything that goes to sleep. Okay. So it's
Right.
like you don't want to be awake to reality because you believe you're unworthy of it. And that hurts really bad. Right. So pretending like this is kind of like the saying, like painting lipstick on a pig, right? Where there's this idea that this is a very rare opportunity. We get to do this. This is really a fun thing for us. Look, there's nothing here that satisfies us. There's nothing that we want in a dream life, because a dream life is on a trajectory where it seems to have an opposite, which is death. That does
Right.
not satisfy us, and it never will. So that's the idea that actually keeps lifetimes projecting, is like this was something that we really want. The only reason that we want it right now is because of fear. It's an underlying fear that we're unworthy of our reality, and it would be certain annihilation. That's the sense that I got too when I went through the screen, when I went on the other side of the screen. This is like a movie screen. Everything that we're perceiving, it's like a movie screen. When I went on the other side of the screen, it's like I got to get back into some story, any story, because this sense of not existing is too much. This sense of being in the void is too much. And that's the underlying fear. So now that we've manifested a perceived world, a world of perception, we can use it for gradually. That's why we've been given time. We've been given time because in time and through time, we can gradually undo the guilty thought that we separated ourselves from creation, because we haven't really separated ourselves. That's actually impossible. But we can dream that we are separate. And the reason I'm saying your mind's not really asleep, because your mind can always choose truth. At first, it doesn't know it has a choice, and that's why A Course in Miracles teaches it like that. And the start of A Course in Miracles is about how you dream a dream. And then as you go on, Jesus says, I think it was what lesson were we on? 167, I believe it was, where it's like, God did not create anything that's asleep. Okay. So you're not actually asleep, but you go through a process where you're taught that you're asleep in a dream. So you can see that you have a choice to make. And then once you get to a certain point, you realize the mind can choose. That in itself is proof that the mind is awake, not asleep. So what else comes up for you?
So a bunch of that landed with me. Some of it went over my head. So I'm going to go back and listen to it again.
Okay.
Um, but so, but that feels good. So what are the alternatives? So let's say we're in a position where we see that, okay, we don't have to have the stories, we don't have to reincarnate. So we can be eternal in a body, or we can be eternal outside of a body. And if we're not having a body, so it's just like we're here now, but without the body, and we can still see and perceive and contribute and like
Contribute to what?
well, I don't know. Like my feeling is coming into human form, and there's a benefit to others, and to life itself to help people, I guess, wake up to come out of the dream and to really, see that they don't have to feel guilt or, but then we're all one being anyway. So who are we helping? So that's what I'm trying to.
Exactly. Exactly. You're helping yourself. Everyone is reflecting everyone is reflecting your consciousness, you can say, and every person, every human also has a choice to make. So once you find yourself manifested in a dream, okay, it's basically a dream. You're not really in your body. The body's projected, it's in your mind. So then you can use it for undoing the thought of separation within yourself, which also helps everyone else who are also versions of yourself. So it's just a dream, though. That's why when you wake up from the dream, you see that there's no one has been asleep. Everyone is here with you. There's no sleeping. So it's just like it's kind of like a nighttime dream. It kind of like rolls up and you forget about it too. So it's not necessary to continue to do this. And in fact, if you don't take on the thought of separation, that's what it is. You take on a thought of separation. You don't really go into a body. You take on the thought of separation as if the thought of separation is true. And then that projects a whole world with all these other bodies that seems to be on a trajectory toward death. So when you find yourself in time, the reason why you're finding yourself in time is because you are still holding the thought of separation, and the time is your opportunity to undo it. So if you find yourself in the what I'm calling the death realm, I don't even know where I got that term from. I probably read it somewhere, but if you find yourself like on the other side, as people say,
Yeah.
you still have a choice right there. But here's the catch though. If you still are drawn to the thought of separation, you're going to automatically make the choice to manifest as another body because the thought of separation makes you feel self-important. So you seem like it's important. It seems like it's important for you to be here. You don't have to do that though. There's no really here anyways. All you're doing is taking on the thought of separation and putting yourself under amnesia.
So if we're not doing that, we're not buying into the thought of the separation.
Right. You're
What's life looking like? We're all hanging around having a party, just following joy, and like we know we're one and we're just jamming together, like, playing the bongos, like
Yeah. Well, you can look at it like this. You cannot really conceive of it while you have the hindrance of the thought of separation, but you know your reality when you see it. You know it and you love it and you're super thankful for it. Okay? You're really glad about your reality. And it's something like this, okay? For you can still create, but your creations are eternal. They never die. You never change. You are as God created you are pure innocent mind. So you create, but you don't create anything that passes away. Yeah, it doesn't have to pass away to change forms. Here things need to pass away to change form. Look, even the plants, for instance, trees, everything, buildings, cars, everything passes away. It doesn't last forever. In the creations of light, everything lasts forever. It never passes away. Changing forms is just according to whatever is pleasing to you, whatever's joyful to you. It could change forms, but you completely know that those forms aren't real. They're only for fun. They're only for expansion. They're only for sharing love, okay? So we're playful, we're joyful. All we do is have fun all the time. We don't have any worries. We don't have any concern over any bodies or anything like that. No one gets hurt. No one has any conflict. It's like that. That's your reality. I think if you really like meditate on that, you can feel that too, that that's your true reality. So we actually, by choosing love while we're perceiving through the thought of separation, we're actually bringing our reality into form. That's what we're doing. That's why miracles work, because we're actually bringing our timeless, deathless, eternal reality into form. And that's why eventually we're not going to see this kind of form that seems to be dying and passing away and being in conflict and being concerned and stuff like that, because that's how the miracle works. It's transformative.
I suspect from what you're saying that we'll see that we've already had a lot of those experiences interspersed with a lot of the experiences of form and dying and all that stuff, kind of the BS. But
Sure.
we've had a mix of it all. But we're having those experiences all the time of this something that is eternal, like a connection with somebody, or love, or
That's right.
looking into somebody's eyes, and connecting. So those aren't going to be new. They've been there all the time. It's just that we've been having other stuff that's kind of superimposed.
That's right. The superimposed is going away.
Right.
That's what's going on. But so we can't believe, the more we believe in the superimposed, like we just believe death is inevitable. That is ridiculous. That, we seem to see with these eyes that actually see nothing, things dying, and then believe that things die. But that's not how it is. Nothing created ever dies. Eternal life doesn't have an opposite. So it's like we call this life of a body, life. It's not life because it seems to have an opposite. That isn't life. It's dream. You can say it's dream. It's closer to death than it is life. Sometimes I like to joke around and say, why don't we have more like a funeral when a baby's born and a celebration when they seem to pass away? Like you know, that doesn't make the most sense either, but to me it makes a little bit more sense than what we're doing. we're celebrating we're celebrating someone taking on the thought of separation. When they're apparently born, we're like, woo, they freaking took on the thought of separation. Oh, yay. And then they pass away and they're like, oh gosh, oh, they went too early or something like that. And all it is, it's a change of form that seems to be accomplished through death, right? But there's no dying. That's why I laugh at death, because there's really no dying. That doesn't make any sense. The way we've set it up through a guilty self-conscious, uh, we've made it so that in order to change form, in order to lay down this body and change form, it has to die. It has to be all dramatic. But no one ever dies.
Amazing. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you, Paul. I love you. It's fun to hear from you. Aloha. Okay, I got a lot more questions here. Let's see what we have here. Ask the Holy Spirit. Yes, thank you, Glenn. That was when I wasn't sure what the title was going to be, and he said, "Ask the Holy Spirit," and I did before I read that. Thank you. Amy, recently I had surgery. I was not in joy. The only joy was rest and taking drugs. Okay, well, wherever you can find it. So look, it's like yeah, yeah. Yeah, the idea that you needed the surgery, that was an effect of sacrifice, right? You can tell because it wasn't joyful for you. It was an effect of making sacrifice true. The illusion is an effect of our mind. Now, someone else might go into surgery like, woo, yeah, fuck yeah, surgery. Okay? They've been choosing joy. That's why they've been choosing truth. All right. So then they're not seeing that. So when you're choosing sacrifice, it manifests as more and more doing more and more sacrifice, doing something you don't want to do, apparently doing something you don't want to do. Okay. And I learned through being a realtor for a year. Remember, I was a realtor for a year, and I know it's funny, huh? I would tell people I'm a realtor. They'd be like, what the fuck? I was doing the whole realtor thing too. I was calling people. I had my list. I was doing I like to do things completely if I'm going to do them. I did all the training. I even did 3 deals in that year, and do all the things. And people were like, what in the world? And I'd come on. I still had wisdom dialogues once a week. I only did a once a week thing while I was a realtor. And I'd go, you guys, if I was not in fear about money, scarcity consciousness, I would not be a realtor right now. That's not saying being a realtor is wrong. It's the most beneficial thing that could be occurring. I could just see that. I'm not making a choice to be a realtor. This is playing out because of scarcity consciousness. I was worried. I was concerned. What for my family? How would we make enough money? My business, Miracle Botanicals, didn't seem to be making the money. My husband seemed to support me being a realtor too. And there I was being a realtor. And I was like, I would not do this if I wasn't afraid. This is not what I would be doing. This is not in alignment with my joy. But I found joy in being a realtor just from moment to moment, moment to moment, moment to moment. I'm connecting with people, I'm enjoying it as much as I possibly can. So the whole realtor thing, using it like that, using it as a means for awakening my mind, it was the realtor expression that actually led to the point where I was like, I'm sustained by the love of God. I don't need to do anything. Anything. I quit doing all things that earned me any money. All of a sudden, it was like, boom, they all dropped. They all just fell away. Right. It was in a realtor training. It was a training. It was a wealth building training. Uh, the woman gave us a packet where we're supposed to write down all of our expenses. I did not feel any kind of even an inkling of joy about doing that at all. And I just pushed the packet, pushed it. She's like, what are you doing, Hope? Are you going to do that later? And I go, no, I'm not doing it at all. And she goes, why not? And I go, I'm sustained by the love of God. Like in the realtor meeting, right? And she's like, what? She's like, yeah, well, a lot of people who are doing this are also religious and they also believe in God and they also do this. And I'm just like, I know, but there is no joy for me at all in filling that thing out. That would be so much of a mind bender for me to try to figure out how much money I spend and what I spend it on. And I just do not care. And so she's just like, okay, whatever. But that kind of like was a demonstration to my own mind right there. I don't need this. I don't need any part of this. I don't need to be doing anything that is not my calling, right? And my calling is to share with you guys. My calling is to share intimately with people through these wisdom talks, to be resting a lot, to be meditating a bunch. I feel called to that. I feel called toward doing block therapy, even though, block therapy, I'm not even an affiliate with block therapy. They said I can never make money with block therapy because I don't follow their rules. I'm kind of like a rebel, apparently. I put videos on YouTube of me doing block therapy. That's against their rules. They told me to take them down. I said, no way. I'm not taking them down. Too many people benefit from those videos. And so there's no money in that. There's nothing where I can like earn anything. And I just stopped doing everything without any seeming thing to fall back on, and just waited for guidance. Okay. And it turns out that was like a little bit more than a year ago. And it turns out everything's fully smooth. Everything is provided for. I just keep on listening to the Holy Spirit and doing what I'm asked to do, whatever I'm asked to do. You know how I know what I'm asked to do? It aligns with joy for me. So that was definitely a process, learning to see that way and not going off of scarcity consciousness. Scarcity comes in a lot of ways. We try to earn love, we try to earn money, we try to earn our place, we try to earn respect, all that kind of stuff. It's like, no, I'm just being fully authentic and letting the Holy Spirit lead in everything. Okay, here's another one. I used to listen to a spiritual teacher that seemed to have his whole life right, and he's in the Epstein files. Exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm fucking saying. Okay. Tony and I were just talking about that recently. There's another popular spiritual teacher. I'm not going to say his name, but apparently he gets invited over to the World Economic Forum to talk. Okay. That's part of the Illuminati. All right. The Illuminati has spiritual teachers. And then I'll say Illuminati and people will go, well, isn't that all that coming from your own mind? Yes, it is. And in the framework that we set up, we have a group of people who believe that it benefits them to affect everyone else's perception. Don't deny that that's the fucking case. Okay. Because otherwise you'll fall under that trap. Okay. I don't know what the percentage is. They say 1%. I don't know. It's probably less than that. But but that believe control the media, control the popular media, and believe that it benefits them. It doesn't really benefit them. Okay. It's just the ego playing out. It doesn't benefit them. This is nothing to be afraid of. It's just to know it benefits them to control everyone else's perception. And they have their own spiritual teachers. And those spiritual teachers speak some truth, but lots of lies. Okay. It's like what the Bible might have said, not in the Bible, wolf in sheep's clothing, I think. Um, where it's like lots of lies and it's meant to confuse you. Okay? So when you see these and look at, you can tell which ones are meant to confuse you because they're projecting like they got everything you want in the world. Okay? And that's basically, when Jesus was tempted by the devil, that's exactly what was going on in the story in the Bible where he's tempted by the devil saying, "Look, I can give you all of this." And this is the same kind of temptation. It's like you can have all these worldly goods, you can have everything that you want in the world. You don't want anything in the world. You don't care. You do not care. There's nothing here that can satisfy you. What these guys don't know, these spiritual teachers and other people who are into, they're not real spiritual teachers. They're propped up. And now they're in the Epstein files. Yes, that's why that's because the consciousness has been evolving and these things are now coming to light. People are getting to see. So this is another way people being dinged, you know, it's if it's all coming from you, then who are you to judge? There is a difference between judging and discerning what is going on in the framework of an illusion, right? There's a big difference. And especially as a spiritual teacher, I was telling one of my friends, I go, don't listen to that fucking guy. You're going to get confused. He's going to confuse the shit out of you. He speaks at the World Economic Forum and he told you guys to take vaccinations for one thing. Those two things together will tell you that's more like a puppet for the Illuminati than a real spiritual teacher. Okay. And it's meant to keep you confused. It's meant to keep you on the path of spirituality, but never actually knowing the truth. That's the thing. There's lots of tricks and stuff set up. Okay. So that's one way you can know their life just looks like, oh, that's the life I want. They got 50 Rolls Royces. They're able to have all the beautiful women they want, whatever the story is, perfect health, all the different, whatevers. That's not what you want. What you want is the peace of God right now. It's all you want is the peace of God right now, and that's your perfect joy. And that does not depend on circumstances at all. It just really doesn't depend on circumstances. And at the same time, being in the peace of God will affect the illusion. It does affect the illusion. It may take time to affect the illusion, though. And, it takes time. It takes time because it's like you're accepting the peace of God, and then there's also doubt. And you're accepting the peace of God, and then there's also doubt. Okay. But that grows your willingness. It's willingness that grows. Your willingness to accept the peace of God continues to grow and grow and grow until it just affects the world. It affects the illusion. It affects, of course, the truth can affect the illusory world. It has all power to do that. That's one thing that was demonstrated with the resurrection. The resurrection didn't prove that the body can go from dead to alive. It proved that there was no death. There was just no death. And that's why it affects the world, because it shows that there's nothing that opposes the truth. Okay. Nothing, the truth can withstand anything, any illusion. And when your mind is free of the doubt that it keeps on going back and forth, you're going to start to see changes in the illusion as well. And at a point, amazing changes, like people growing limbs back, people growing teeth back, for instance. There's that too. We were talking to a couple of my friends here. We were talking about that. Maybe grow another. Yeah, it's not, nothing's impossible. Okay. All right. Let's see what else. The condition of the body is a reflection of a tiny mad thought, not anything truly logical. Right, not logical at all. That's why whatever the condition of the body is, it's not relevant. It's really not relevant. You find your peace within God, And let that be enough. Don't be looking for the proof in the illusion. Looking for proof in the illusion is already expressing doubt. See? So it's not going to give you, the illusion is never going to give you what you want. Only the peace of God gives you what you want. Yes, my love.
And that after the whys of why did this happen? Why is this? Right?
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, White Dove is saying never go after the why. Like for instance, when some of our friends were apparently murdered, a couple of my friends came up and go, "Why is this manifesting?" I'm like, "It's a meaningless world. It's a meaning. There's no why to it. It's a meaningless world. Like, what does that mean about me that I'm having this experience of this? There's no why. It's a meaningless world. And whatever it is that is manifesting, it is maximally beneficial as the means to seeing past the thought of separation, to undoing the thought of separation. So if there is going to be a why, it's only because it's a most beneficial thing that can possibly occur for what we want to use it for. Okay, it's not a personal thing. All right, love this. Whatever occurs is the most beneficial. Hey, that's what I just said. To awakening the mind to the truth, you can be happy. Let the changes manifest. That's right. Bring on whatever the changes are. Bring on the opportunity for me to demonstrate that God's perfect peace never changes, no matter what form seems to be manifest. Okay, seems to be made manifest. Are there replays on Facebook? Yes, the replays of all these videos, before I even post them, I post them to YouTube, Substack, and all podcast stations like Spotify and those guys. I post them there, but it takes me a little bit. But these lives that go on Facebook constantly sit there for a month. By then, I got it posted. Okay. So you can go and watch the replay right away on Facebook. And to do that, go to my homepage on Facebook, Hope Akea Johnson. It's facebook.com/. Hope Akea Johnson, and then at the end of that, web address, type in live and hit enter, and then that'll take you to all my live videos. And if you want to watch me while I'm live, that's also the place to go. Okay, I haven't seen an actual link for it. I think the only way you can do it to get there directly is just go to my Facebook homepage and then do /live. Maybe I'll get a link to it on the front page of my website. Then it make it really easy for you guys to just click a link. And Caitlin was saying, love that when I was talking about the babies, the babies being born, to do it as a funeral instead. She just had a baby too, so that's fun. And then Amy commented, so believe that life never dies is what gives you peace. Is someone, wait, I do not understand that question, Amy. You can, if you want to talk to me, you can raise your hand too. I'll get back to that one. Maybe you'll phrase it a little different. Okay, Caitlin said no ego strategies. Loved the lesson yesterday. Lay down the personality to God. I didn't do the lesson yesterday. I'm sure it was awesome. I love every single lesson of A Course in Miracles. I will be doing a lesson tomorrow, whatever tomorrow's lesson is. I haven't even looked at it yet. It's like, what is it, 174? Are we on 173 today? Some people are doing it by the day of the year. Probably 174 will be tomorrow's lesson when I come on tomorrow between from 1 to 3:30, okay? Or 1 to 2:30. Another one. So your calling is what brings you peace and joy. Yes, right now. Only right now. It could change, right? It's not set in stone. It could change. It's only right now. The what's peaceful right now. And really, if you'll recognize, okay, I don't need to change any circumstances. Like whatever's manifesting right now, this is perfect for me right now to be like Jesus said, don't be in a hurry for anything but recognizing the truth. So whatever is manifesting right now, that's perfect for me to use it to be in a hurry for recognizing the truth if I don't recognize the truth right now. I know if I'm recognizing the truth because am I in joy? Do I feel the peace of God? Right? And then I know what my calling is right now. Right? It's like when I was in real estate, it was like, okay, this, let's say I was looking at it like this. This is the least painful thing I can do right now. It was more like that. That's okay too. right? If that's what it is, that's what it is. This is the least painful thing I can do right now. And so I'm going to, I'd roll up to the office and I'd be in my car and I'd be looking at the office of, oh man, I do not feel like going in there. And I'd sit there for a second. I just listen to the Holy Spirit. Is there anything else that feels less resistant to me right now? And there wasn't. So I go, okay, I'm just going to go in there and have a good ass time. And I always did. Right? I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna have a good ass time. I'm gonna take what it is and I'm gonna have as much fun as I possibly can with it. Right? See, because there was so much resistance to not doing something to make money, nothing else felt better to me at the moment. Like going, like just shining it all and going to the beach felt too fearful. So I went in there and I decided to have a good time in there. Right. And I did. I had fun time. I made great friends and had fun interactions with people. I was always having fun, learning ridiculous, meaningless shit that didn't interest me one bit. But learning it anyways. And, apparently I was a good realtor. I mean, I see one of the guys that I helped get some property here. He's like, I can't believe you're not a realtor. Just like a couple weeks ago, I can't believe you're not a realtor. You were the best realtor I ever seen. And I go, well, basically, I'm really good at anything I try. Doesn't mean I have to do it. You know, doesn't mean, just because you like it doesn't mean I have to do it. He's like, yeah, yeah, that's a really good point. I'm just so glad you were a realtor when it came time for me to buy my place. Okay, what else? If a family member dies, the belief that life never ends, that's what gives us peace. Yeah, I mean, no one dies. So one of my friends was telling me the other day when I was sitting with a couple friends, one of them goes, "Yeah, but if one of your kids was murdered, then you would definitely be singing a different tune." And I go, "What I'm saying is that we have the capacity to see things completely different so that we could actually be grateful for any manifestation, no matter what that manifestation seems to be." That's what I'm saying right now. I'm not saying that I'm obligated to act a certain way, but I'm confident that I can see any manifestation as something to be grateful for because of what it's for, no matter what. Okay. So let me see. I'm going to check on my Facebook peeps and it looks like aloha from the lake. Oh, thank you. Aloha, Billy. I'm so glad you're here. Brittany, thank you for joining. Thank you, Substack peeps. I love you. You can ask questions on there too. I'll be back to check you out again. Okay, let's see how Facebook is doing. Okay, I just have one from Paul and he already came on. So great. Okay, we're doing awesome. Nice. Yes. Okay, I'm just seeing who's on here. Oh, welcome. Okay. Aloha, everyone. I appreciate you. Yes. So the peace of God, let that be your measure. Okay. That's why I could see that when I was doing real estate, I could see that I was operating from a sense of scarcity. And that didn't mean I was going to stop doing my talks. I was talk about it. I'm just intimate with you guys with whatever I'm going through. So I just talk about it and go, okay, I would not be doing this. That doesn't mean I'm not having fun because I can have fun doing anything that I'm doing. Doesn't matter what it is, I will be having fun. But I'm not able to listen to the calling that gives me the most joy right now because I've got this other thing, I've got this other idea that I need to do something else. And this is the something else that I seem to be doing. So I'm going to go through it gladly. And by going through it gladly, it was able to teach my mind in a relatively quick period of time. It only lasted a year and then I was done with it. And, the people that I was working with, the real estate office and the other realtors and stuff like that were surprised because, I seemed like a person that would be very successful in real estate. And to them, that's the measure of joy. That's the measure of peace is how successful you could be at your job, right? And I seemed like someone, wow, got all this charisma. She can just go out and get clients without even doing anything. Also, the broker asked me because the one that told me what a good realtor I am, I forgot what percentage I charged him because it was a while ago now. But it was like double what normally realtors charge. And I was like, yeah, this is what I'm charging. He's like, that much money? And I go, you don't have to hire me, bro. Like that's how much, because it was a deal that was only like I don't know, maybe like 150,000. I'm like, I'm not doing it for that low percentage. You got to pay me a higher percentage. So I make at least like 6 grand off of this deal. And so the main broker calls me up. He's like, I just want to know how you got that percentage out of someone. I go, I just told him that's what I would do it for. And he's like, I'm telling you, seasoned realtors don't recognize their value and they don't ask for that. And I've been telling them to ask for that. Like when the deal is like, think about how much money do you have to make for this deal to be worth it to you? Because you still have to do a shitload of work, even though the dollar amount of the property being lower doesn't mean you're doing less work. And certainly I want to make my client happy. I'm like, this is how much it is, right? So they were just like so surprised that I'm like, all right, I'm done with that. Like, wow, this chick was like able to be like really successful at this. The thing is, when it's not the calling, it's not the calling. And making a bunch of money is not supreme to me, right? Having the perfect body is not supreme to me. That's why I didn't engage in discipline to try to get to it, right? It has to be more of a playful game to me, like playful game. Salvation is like playful games that children play. That's what one of the I think it's a line in the text we went over recently, right? Is the salvation is like playful games children play. That's how I like to live. Like I'm just playing games. And they're happy games. They're fun games. They're not mean games. They're not disciplined games, anything like that. So the idea, if I were enlightened enough, my body would do this or the world would do this. One of my friends told me that he has a friend that he's been talking to, and she said that she learned that it was all thought. So she said, okay, I'm going to use it to make a bunch of money. And then in her dream, she sees that she made a bunch of money, but she sees that she's not happy. That's because it's not going to bring you any joy. Controlling like that, which you can't really control, it's like, okay, okay, that's what you want to use the body for? Making something in the world? You're going to see that it just leads to more pain because all roads in the world lead to death. Only the road to truth leads to eternal life. It's like a horizontal movement versus a vertical movement, right? The horizontal stuff could still arise if it's also in line with joy. So that's not saying you can't make a bunch of money. That's not saying that. But the idea of earning is totally a guilty thought. The idea of earning is guilty. Okay. The idea that you have to work a certain amount or anything like that. Yes.
I just quit my job
Okay.
and I'm doing
Uh-huh.
and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yay.
And it is a little like, oh
Uh-huh.
god, but it's exciting too.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I really resonate with what you're saying.
Okay. So Etta May is sharing that she just quit her job. She has no source of income. She has no idea what she's going to do. There's a sense of fear coming up. Of course, this is new. There's a sense of fear, but also there's this excitement because she's also coming into the knowing that she's always been sustained by the love of God. We've never really been sustained by money. There's one part in a Course in Miracles that just cracks me up. It's like, I don't know the exact verbatim, but it's something like, you really think that strips of paper and little metal discs are providing for you? You really think those sustain you? Right? How ridiculous is that? And the reality is that we dream that they do, so that they seem to. Those things seem to sustain us. And that's not saying that you shouldn't accept money. In A Course in Miracles, in the Manual for Teachers, it talks about some of you are going to do this teaching. You're going to be doing be a teacher of God for money, in exchange for money. Jesus is saying there is nothing wrong with that. Okay? That's not my calling. Okay. I accept donations, but I'm not like trying to do it for money. Okay. But he's also saying there's nothing wrong with that because, again, in the framework of the world we set up, we seem to need money. So there's nothing wrong with asking for money. There's nothing wrong with charging money, anything like that. It's the belief in your mind that it's what sustains you. See that? So this is another example so you don't get confused and think that you're supposed to reject money. Because people that do that, they get screwed in another way, right? Because they're already condemning themselves by rejecting something in the field, rejecting something in the world. Okay. Saying that I'm just gonna refuse money, right? Like it's something bad, like it's something evil. Since Jesus said, you really think that sustained you, now I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm not gonna use it. He's saying you can use it, just don't believe in your mind that it actually sustains you. So then you have concern about it. Any concern is fear. Concern is fear. Even concern for another person's safety, anything, concern for your own body, that's fear. So that's not saying concern is bad again. It's saying recognize, be aware that concern is fear. Okay. So let's see. So your habits, they're not like an enemy. Attraction, maybe you're attracted to a person, maybe you're in one of those narcissist relationship, empath relationship, right? You're attracted to a person, they seem to be being mean to you, they seem to be playing push pull with you, something like that. Nothing wrong. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. Just ask to see through the particulars of whatever it is you seem to be going through. The world will reflect to you something's wrong. I was in a relationship with someone and he keeps trying to project to me that that I think something's wrong. You must you must feel this way. And I'm like, no, I'm fucking grateful for the way everything went. I think it was awesome. I'm grateful for you. I love it. It's awesome. The world will project to you like, oh yeah, you really did something wrong. Don't ever believe that. Right. I've had that projection quite a bit. At one point, I was hanging out with this spiritual teacher way back 2012 or something like that. And he turned out to be a dick. Like he manifested as a dick, okay? Like he was kind of like using chicks around the around Puna, around some of my friends, it's kind of like using some of my friends, just being a user with the chicks and stuff like that. And then I was like, all right, that's enough of that. And I cut off the relationship. I'm like, that's enough of that. I'm not hanging out with you anymore. I'm not doing any spiritual teaching with you anymore. You just keep on leaving all this suffering in your wake. Okay. So then, I'd have reflections from people trying to reflect back to me like I did something wrong, like something went wrong. And I'm like, no, no, no. Everything was fucking awesome. It went exactly the way it needed to go, including where I cut it off at a certain point. It's like everything is the means for awakening. So don't ever believe that you did it wrong. You can't possibly do anything wrong. You haven't done anything. You can only think in a mistaken way that basically hurts your mind and makes it so that you can't have sight of your joy. You can't know the peace of God temporarily. That's all. And so when you're aware of how you feel, when you're aware, hey, I don't like this, right? And you find yourself doing something or engaging in something that you don't like, then you're aware that you need a different interpretation. You need a different interpretation from spirit. That's all. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. And that might change. Like I noticed, wow, I do not like hanging out with a spiritual teacher that's engaging with my friends and they're crying around town over him, right? And so I'm like, okay, that's enough. I'm like, I'm not mad at you or anything. I'm just not doing any of this spiritual stuff with you anymore. I'm just going to go and do my own thing. And not actually, I just was not doing anything because he was actually like my only line to doing any kind of spiritual talks or anything like that because I didn't have anything of my own yet. So I just went back to just chilling out in my garden, smoking my spliffs, whatever I was doing. Probably. So no discipline, no need for discipline. So if you are disciplining yourself, this is one thing that I read in the Gita that I really liked. And it was saying, if you're disciplining yourself, do it for me, as in do it for God, right? So if you do the disciplining for God, it turns your mind. So now you're not doing the discipline to try to get some kind of reward. The discipline itself is becoming an offering to God, right? It's kind of like reminds me of the same thing of like how I kind of disciplined myself to work in real estate, right? Kind of disciplined myself to do that because I didn't feel like I wanted to do that, but I felt like I needed to do that because I felt like I needed the money, right? So I gave it all to God. I gave everything that I was doing to God. I gave everything to the Holy Spirit to use it for, okay, use this for awakening my mind. And when I was in a relationship with someone where we were playing out that narcissist empath kind of dynamic, I was just giving it all to be used for the purpose of healing the mind. That's giving it to God. And so that in itself brings any kind of pain into joy. It really does. It's like even the pain, you can be grateful for any of the pain that you're going through, knowing what it's for. And that's what the time is being used for. So it's kind of like the same thing as being in a hurry to recognize the truth so that you can know your joy in God, so you can know the peace of God and be able to listen more to the Spirit, because that's egocentricity, isn't it? When you can't say no to a dynamic that hurts, right? But I'm not shaming myself for being egocentric. I'm recognizing that's egocentricity. There's a difference, isn't there? If you're just recognizing that's egocentricity and I'm unable to make another choice in this moment because the fear is too strong. Okay. Same thing with the relationship, on the same level as going and being a realtor. It's the same kind of thing. It's an inability to fully listen to the Holy Spirit yet, but it's coming, right? It's coming through our willingness, and it'll come faster when you're not shaming yourself, not condemning yourself. The ego will tell you, you just don't have what it takes. You just don't, you're never going to get it. You're never going to learn A Course in Miracles if you're doing A Course in Miracles. That's one thing ego will tell you. A Course in Miracles is way too complicated for you. There's too many words, right? I hear that a lot. You better find something simpler because you don't have the right intellect to handle A Course in Miracles. Okay, that's the ego. Of course, you can learn it. For one thing, it's super simple. The reason why there's a bunch of words is because the ego has built up a bunch of defenses. That's what the bunch of words are for. All we're doing is removing the defenses with all these words. Look at how many words I've used. How many talks have I done? I don't know. Maybe more than 1,000. Okay, they're all recorded. Someone can count them if they want. And there's a lot of words and there's a lot of repetition too, because the ego builds up these defenses. And what we're doing is we're removing the blocks to seeing what's true. We're moving the blocks to our complete willingness. Starts with a little willingness, and that keeps on growing until it's complete willingness to accept the love of God, listen to the Holy Spirit, and be in your supreme joy. So here's what I noticed through all of my experience with this kind of stuff. Peace comes before any material improvement. Okay? Peace with what is comes before any apparent improvement. You're not being satisfied by the improvement, that's why. You're being satisfied by the peace. So it's like I was sharing with my friend too yesterday or something. Let's say there's a personality that you dislike. Like this they're being negative all the time. They're being mean. They're being rude. You dislike that personality. That is not the kind of personality you want to hang out with, right? So you just want to be honest about that you dislike that. And over here, you really like this person. This person is peaceful. They're always uplifting. They're happy. They're sweet to you, right? So it's not a matter of trying to like the person that you seem to not like their personality. It's a matter of embracing yourself, liking on one hand, disliking on another hand. embracing this self of form that seems to like and dislike. When you're embracing the self of form, both like and dislike are the same to you. What the ego gets afraid of here is that you're going to automatically be gravitating toward the things you don't like if you're just embracing yourself and you're counting those as equal. And when you're embracing yourself, the liking and the disliking, and you're letting those things be equal in your mind, right? You're just embracing that self of form that seems to like and dislike. Your willingness to embrace and be in joy is going to have you naturally gravitating toward the people and things that you seem to like because they resonate. Your joy and the things you like resonate. See that? But it takes actually embracing yourself in the dislike, embracing the dislike. There's nothing really here, but you're going to be resonating more to the dislike if you're condemning yourself for disliking. See what I mean? Or you're making now. Then there's also, or you're making the dislike, the thing you dislike, as if it's responsible for you disliking. Like something's wrong with that person. That person isn't even there. Like you're not even seeing them truly, right? You don't have to. So I'm not saying that you have to like them because you don't see them truly. You don't. You just embrace the dislike, embrace the like equally, equanimity with both of those, because you're embracing yourself is bringing you joy. That resonates with the things you like. So then you're going to find yourself around the people and things that you like more because you've embraced all things. Embracing all things means actually embracing yourself, not liking some things. See that? Isn't that fun? It's different. It's a nuance that really changes the way you relate because normally the way spiritual minded people are looking at this is that they're not enlightened until they can like everything. It's not like that. Your enlightenment depends on you embracing yourself, apparently disliking some things. You're going to apparently dislike. What are you going to start liking war now? You're going to start liking murder now? Are you going to start liking conflict now? No, you're going to dislike those things. That's just how it is. Yes.
You can have unconditional love for everyone and everything, but in that unconditional love, you can still dislike and like
That's right.
and make your choice.
And you only make your choice between love and fear, though. You don't make your choice between people. That's the illusion. Okay. So what he's saying is that you can have unconditional love and you can like and dislike. Yeah. See, the liking and disliking is only an illusion. You don't need to change the illusion. Your illusory self likes it. That's the self of form. An illusory self likes and dislikes. Embrace the illusory self. The illusory self is the self that you express joy through. That's the only self you can use in a dream to express joy through. Okay? So if you're embracing yourself with the likes and dislikes just as you are, that's joyful. Okay? So naturally, what's going to be taken care of is you're going to be gravitating and attracting, or you might want to say it, whatever you want, however you want to say it, the things and people and circumstances that you like because you're able to embrace it all with equanimity. You're not afraid of attracting or manifesting things that you don't like because you embrace them equally as things that as you do things that you like. You're trusting that your experience is going exactly the way it needs to go. In that trust, you're finding the peace of God. In the peace of God, you're seeing and experiencing more things that you apparently like, even though you really don't fucking care. But in the illusion, in the framework of illusion, it's not like, you're going to be gravitating toward the things that you don't like when you're in the peace of God, when you're in joy, because it's just always like that. Right. But it's like even the things that you don't like, you'll find that you experience fewer of them. For one, fewer things, you experience fewer things that you don't like. And also the not liking things becomes more playful. Not like, I don't like that, and therefore I'm out of peace. It's more like, oh shit, I don't like that. What fun. Oh shit, I like that. Okay, cool. Right? One of my friends gave me an example today. Someone keeps on cutting her bushes. One's a rose bush, a blueberry bush, I think, something like that. And they keep on cutting her bushes, and she's like, "Ugh," she's like feeling so pissed like this, you know. And the thing is, don't go to what did I do to deserve this? That's the ego talking. The anger, feel the anger. Feel that anger. However you express, that's not up to you. I'm not saying don't express anger, but feel the anger and recognize that you're projecting the anger. Anger, it says in A Course in Miracles, has no justification. There's no justification for anger. That doesn't mean you resist yourself that is experiencing anger. Embrace yourself experiencing the anger and notice the thoughts that justify anger and recognize those thoughts are meaningless. That's how you get to the point, and my friend got to the point where she was just able to communicate with the neighbor, communicate peacefully with the neighbor. And you know, she got to that point eventually, where she could just go, "Hey, I noticed that my bushes are must be annoying to you because you keep on cutting them." And then that starts a conversation, right? But she doesn't have a choice in whether she's going to communicate with him. She does not have a choice. She only has a choice in whether she's going to make her anger wrong on one hand or make the anger about him and he deserves a lashing out. You know, he deserves, minimum of what he deserves at any given time is gratitude from you. Whether he gets that is a different thing. Okay? And if he doesn't get that, you want to know what the thoughts are that are justifying ingratitude so you could see them, because that ingratitude is really for yourself and it's really hurting your mind and bringing about more stuff that you don't want, apparently. Okay, I got a big one right here. Let's see. Constance is writing it. I had a new thought about the saying, the devil is in the details. I used to think it was about being hyper vigilant, like something is hiding in the details that was going to get me. Oh, okay. That's a fun interpretation. Now I realize that it's more about how the details gets us lost in stories and that it is the devil. But really, it's just basically a misuse of time. Yes, it's a misuse of time. That's right. That's why Jesus talks about in some of those cameos to Helen and Bill. One of them is called, I think the cameo might be called, or it just says that in the cameo, the hire shopping service, using Jesus's hire shopping service. And it was an example of Helen needing a winter coat. And back then they didn't have AI. Now we can just ask AI. We don't have to sift through a bunch of details, right? But she wasn't sure where she was going to find her coat. And Jesus was like, I don't want your mind bogged down with that. The coat is going to turn up. You know, just wait for the hire shopping service to show you where the coat is. If you use the hire shopping service, it's going to be more efficient. You're going to find the coat you want more efficiently. Whether or not you're going to like the coat, that's a different story, because it's still the coat that you thought you wanted. It's just that it's going to come to you without you getting bogged down in the details. Yes, that's what it means. The devil is in the details, because now your mind is bogged down in worldly details, trying to figure out what to do. I actually had a friend on one of the groups tell me I have to figure out how to awaken. You know, and my answer was, I don't want to awaken. I really just accept that I'm awake. Yeah. But, that's like putting the same thing, this devil details thing, into spirituality. Like you got to figure something out. No, the Holy Spirit is doing all figuring out for you. You don't have to figure anything out. Just wait and breathe, and it comes to you. And I think we even saw an example of that when this was just starting, because I forgot that you got to do a title and a description on Facebook when you're going onto Facebook. And I was like, oh shoot, what is the title? And then I started typing something out. No, that's not it. And then I just waited, and then in a few seconds it just came up. Okay, this is what it is, right? It is like that. It's, you just have a pause and wait for it, and then it'll show itself to you. And really, it's not leaning to your own busy mind and trying to figure something out like frantically. That's how the ego is. It's frantic. It wants to try to figure something out like, oh, I got to figure this out, you know. So peace first, acceptance of the illusory self, also called the self of form. I got the term self of form from A Course of Love. I like A Course of Love. There, it's another Jesus channeling, and it's and what Jesus is saying in that channeling is that it's a continuation of A Course in Miracles. Came out 30 years later, approximately 30 years later, after A Course in Miracles, and it's talking about elevating the self of form and embracing the self of form. A Course in Miracles says the same thing, it's just different words. It's using different words. And A Course in Miracles is also geared toward a mind with consciousness, uh, general consciousness around the time of the late, I don't know, or mid 60s, sometime in the 60s, whereas A Course of Love is about 30 years later when consciousness has evolved 30 years. So it's like it's geared toward the consciousness of the time. So the term used in A Course of Love is elevated self of form. The elevated self of form is basically an illusory form still, but that's expressing union. Okay, it's expressing union. So it's expressing joy within everything. So that doesn't mean you all of a sudden got this magical body that's proving that you're enlightened or something like that. It just means that you're expressing union rather than expressing conflict. That's an elevated, what it's calling an elevated self of form. Another way of putting that might be uh, a, a, an illusory self that's expressing union, that's not expressing death. And you know, it's stabilized in that. That's why it's called elevated self of form. It's stabilized now in expressing only union all the time. And what I see is that's a trajectory that everyone is going toward, that we're all on that trajectory where, as part of the process of awakening, we end up expressing through this self of form that only expresses union all of the time. Okay. So basically, that's expressing joy rather than expressing guilt, like, oh, I have to do this, or uh, oh, I wish I wasn't, you know, just the regular way people talk. I wish I didn't do that, or I wish I would be more like this, you know, is having no wishes for anything in the world to be different, totally embracing everything in the world, right? Totally embracing something yeah, I dislike peas, for instance, and just totally be embracing that, not thinking that, you know, in order for you to be enlightened, you should be different than what you are, just embracing everything. So that's where it really shows, you know, whether or not you still have things to see through or something to learn. It's, do you condemn yourself? You know, I heard this week also a remote viewer. I believe her name is Elizabeth April. I'm not totally sure on that, but she's a remote viewer. She's probably in her early 30s. I think she said she was 33. Very pretty blonde girl, and she was talking about remote viewing Jesus. She was talking about the Federation. What is it called? The Federation of Light, Galactic Federation. Yeah, she was talking about that, and she was going, Jesus is not part of that. And I was like, I knew he was not part of that. I knew that because the Galactic Federation of Light, you could just tell by the kind of channelings that come through, they're not at that higher level. She's like, that Jesus, I forgot what dimension she said when she accesses the Galactic Federation of Light, whatever dimension that is. She's like, Jesus is at a way higher dimension. And it's like she would call it 12th dimension. She said she has to put herself in a bubble before accessing Jesus through remote viewing, because otherwise she would just be crying the whole time. She wouldn't be able to ask him any questions because it's just so much love. So she accessed Jesus while in a bubble. She bubbles herself somehow, and she asked Jesus some questions like, you know, what do you want? And the way she saw Jesus, she saw him with all these tentacles coming down. She said sort of like an octopus has tentacles, but they're like silvery. I think she said they were like light tentacles, and they're connecting to all these different people. And those are the people that believe in him. It's like they've got these beams of light coming from Jesus, like that. And he's saying there's going to be a rapture very soon and a judgment day, which is not what we think it is. She explained, not what we think it is. It's basically where it's almost like a wave. You could say it's like kind of like the flood in the Bible, where Noah builds an ark, and they're the only ones saved. It's all stories that are pointing to something. So basically, who's going to be raptured? It's going to be based on nothing but self-love. Nothing but how well you love yourself. Not how much you learned in A Course in Miracles or any other spiritual teaching, not what you eat, not how much you meditate, not how much you've studied, not how much you know about anything. With this rapture. And she said she can't tell what time it's going to be, but this lifetime, she said it could be this year, it could be 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But it's like this wave, this energetic wave that comes through, where there's like an ascension that occurs. And it's based on how well you love yourself. That's all it is. So this includes this self of form that you made. You need to be loving toward that. All right. That's gonna elevate you more than anything. This is like basically, A Course of Love's calling it elevated self of form. And then this rapture thing, that's elevation too. It's all elevation. So it's like you catch this wave, sort of like you catch this wave. To catch this wave requires that you love yourself completely, unapologetically. That's the direction to go to. This includes loving the self of form. I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. With whatever it is you seem to be doing, your habits, nothing needs to change about you. God is already certain about you. What is being asked of you to be certain is for you to be certain about you. No matter what you seem to see this self doing, it needs no improvement. It needs your love. Okay. And that is the unconditional love for all. It is the unconditional love for all, is you loving yourself, because there's only one of us.
I think people, when they hear about the rapture and something like that, they feel like, well, this is a wave that's gonna come in and sweep everybody and lift everybody up. But
Yeah.
what it really is your rapture, your coming to terms with love, and because the next person sitting next to you could be on a whole different trajectory and
Right.
different dimension,
Yeah.
sitting right next to you, and maybe loving war and UFC fights, and you're loving love and consciousness.
Yeah, and you could love UFC fights. I mean, and no one's gonna like love death. That's not gonna happen. No one's gonna love death, because death and love don't go together. All right, that's not good. That's not what's gonna happen. But it's like UFC. That's a sport, maybe. I don't know. It's like this loving the self of form. It uplifts everyone. Okay, so when we're talking about a rapture coming, it's not like coming from outside of our mind. It's like there's this collective consciousness going on, and each of us is coming more into self-love. So it's kind of like we're making this wave, right? And so we're also uplifting other people, of course, and giving them the means too. By our self-love, we're giving them the means to see that for themselves and join in this elevation. It's like a process of elevation. Are some people going to be left behind? Quite possibly, because they're not willing yet. That doesn't mean that it's not going to circle around for them again too. It'll circle around. Truly, no one's really asleep, so it's not a problem. However long it takes in time is not a problem. So it's like we together, let's say as collective consciousness, make this wave. It doesn't come from outside of our mind. It's like many of us at the same time are coming into this awareness, and it makes like a wave. And so it'll elevate us to what people say different timelines, even completely out of the illusion. Even completely lifting the veil of the illusion could be the case too. At any given time, that's what time is for, really. So at any given time, the veil can just be lifted. Bless you, lovely. Okay, it's time for me to wrap it up. I love you guys. Thank you for joining.
Screwed up.
Yes. So I'll be back tomorrow and Wednesday. Tomorrow I'll be here 1 to 2:30 Hawaii time for the lesson of the day. We'll do a deep dive on the lesson of the day. Wednesday, I'll be here for continuing chapter 3 in A Course in Miracles, deep dive there. That'll be from 3 to 5. In the meantime, check out hopejohnson.org. All of this is funded by your donation, so please feel free to donate. I appreciate everyone who donates so much. Thank you. Some of you donate things like drinks. Anne offered cleaning my floors. Thank you, Anne. I also would love any kind of technical donations, anything that helps me make this smoother, getting the word out on different platforms, or even just making smoother how I'm getting the word out on the platforms that I have. I'm open for technical donations, food, massage, whatever. But you can go to my website for monetary donations, hopejohnson.org. You could set that up on a monthly plan if you like. Minimum, I think, is $10 a month. And if you want to do something different, you just want me to take your credit card and set it up like that, or just do a one time, just contact me. I'm available. You can go to hopejohnson.org. I got a chat there. That just goes straight to my phone when you contact me on the chat. There's also all kinds of free stuff on my website, all kinds of content, all kinds of links. However you want to get me, you can get me on YouTube, you can get me on Facebook, you can get me on your podcast stations, listen to stuff from like 10 years ago. One of my friends was saying he went back 10 years ago and was listening to me from back then, and listening to some friends that well, one of them even passed away more recently, and listening and hearing his voice on those ones from 10 years ago. Yeah, it's all there. You can find it on hopejohnson.org, all the links you need. I also have a book there called Unschooling for Parents, because a lot of my awakening came through having children, and believing that I was a terrible mom and needed to do way better at it. That's where I really started hearing from the Holy Spirit. So my book is called Unschooling for Parents. It's available on my website. It's also available on Amazon. I think it's available in all the countries. If you want to get it in different countries, go to your Amazon and look for Unschooling for Parents. So yay. I love you too, Celeste. Thank you for joining, everyone. It was such a fun time. Until tomorrow, mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho. Woo!